Hey folks, Valentin the Mad here, and today we'll be looking at Jackal. I had a chance to play the early alpha version, so in this video we'll be discussing the gameplay as well as the response side of it. There's a lot to talk about, so let's get right in. I'll kind of begin with the conclusion, and I remember firing the game up for the first time thinking, is it gonna be as good as the trailer made it look? And guys, the answer is an absolute yes. Gotta say, not the very least disappointed. So what we have here is the high lethality gameplay in the vein of Hotline Miami. As you can see, with a focus on the mask, we'll get to it. So everyone is vulnerable. As I was saying, everyone is vulnerable. I was beheaded. And it's a good chance to introduce the different enemy types, so those guys, they are the most basic grunt. If they surround you, they can be dangerous, but they're usually pretty easy to handle. Dogs are an enemy type. Then we have the yellow jackets, so it is possible, as you can see, it is possible to get them from close range, but you have to be pretty careful because they are actually indeed very dangerous. And so are those guys actually. Ah yeah, it zoomed out, so I can't really do a clear Gore showcase, but can I perhaps zoom in? Yeah, seems like I can't zoom in. But here we have a pretty decent look at the aftermath. And it wasn't quite clear as I was playing this, but environmental responses do have a role here too. I'll see if I can perhaps showcase it better in the next level. I do actually want to showcase the gore perhaps. And as you can see, my character bleeds. Apparently I took a hit and my character is bleeding. And those guys are actually quite dangerous. So as you can see, his arm was removed. Trying to see, yeah, a leg was removed, and can I remove the head perhaps? Heads are removable. Just trying to get clear footage. So what I've seen, you can remove arms, you can remove legs, characters can be cut in half, and I should be able to activate the head dismemberment. It actually doesn't cut off at the neck, it cuts off about, I think about over the mouth, so can I have that as the hand dismemberment variation? That of course is just lovely. And so this guy was cut in half, as you can see. We have just the legs here. And now I'm just painting the room entirely. As you can see, the splats are very nice. Actually, very appropriate splats for the katana. And I think it's just stretched out. Yeah, it's just a regular splat pattern, just kind of stretched, but if it works, and here it very much does. Yeah, here we go, so you can kind of see that his head was... You know, actually it's my first time ever dismembering dogs in this game, and I really haven't been testing the dog gore out. Oh, and there goes my player. So yeah, apparently dog gore is a thing. I wasn't testing that specifically, but always good to know. I'll have to showcase the finishers too, because they are a factor. But I do want to perhaps do a little bit more of dismemberment. So where's the yellow jacket? Ah, yeah, I had the katana from the previous level, never mind. Yellow jackets aren't here yet. And as you can see, finishers are very much a factor, and I believe there might be a different head variation for the finishers. For the very least, you have kind of like head chunks go around. That is for the very least. Once again, guy got cut in half. and splattered beautifully all over the place. Yeah, here we go, so here's a clear look at the head dismemberment. As you could see, it is kind of about, might be even at the nose level perhaps. So yeah, so just lovely stuff. And one thing I do want to note here is that generation of each given level is actually a thing. I think perhaps most levels, I think there are a few levels where you don't have generation, but you do actually have generation and a degree of randomization of the enemies in the levels, so as far as I can see, to get new generation, as you can see, it's basically, it should be the same level as before, but as you can see, the layouts have been are different because there is a degree of level generation, and as you can see, the guys I just shot, they were kind of like touching around. We'll get to that as well. So there is a degree of generation. You have the overall style for the level, but the room layout will be different. Not every time, so for example, if you get killed and you press restart, you get the same level. So if a level is difficult, and some levels are, as I will showcase too, you will be able to kind of learn the layout and perhaps do better next time around. Keyword here is kind of perhaps. As you can see, I died and I have the same layout. And I couldn't finish him. That's kind of unfortunate. And then it does give you a certain degree of freshness, which is always, I would say, a welcome feature. And once again, as you can see, the guys that just took down, they're kind of... There is an active ragdoll, which is very cool. Particularly if I manage to get one and have him land on the table. Now one more thing I do want to mention. We have this guy. He's called the Associate, and one of the features of the game is basically spells. The one I have currently unlocked is, I think, just making one of them go nuts, so yeah, I'll just showcase it, what the hell. So you can choose who's gonna be going nuts, so let's make the guy with the gun go nuts, and he's gonna shoot his body. So you have that option, but personally, I just prefer to have the experience of just using regular guns, so I would say Associate is welcomed. I would say Associate is welcomed in the cutscenes, sure. He can hang out, that's cool. And by the way, look at that mess. Look at that mess, it's just beautiful. So I will say, he is welcomed in the cutscenes, there is a story, you do have cutscenes. And he can hang out, yeah, like, I'm cool with that. But personally, I do always prefer to just have the visceral, regular combat experience with regular weapons. And in this preview version I got, it is entirely an option, using him, you know, just for the tutorial. It kind of like asks you to use it. Madness spell, you can unlock other spells, but at no point are you really forced to use them to progress. And I do hope that in the full game that remains to be the case too. We'll see. Did I took his head off or is he just bleeding? Oh no, he's just kind of like got in a bit of an awkward head position. And yeah, as I was mentioning, high lethality gameplay for both you and I would say most enemies, so... one factor I have to mention here, I absolutely have to mention, so as you can see, you do have the finishers, but as you finish the character, you don't actually have everyone else just kind of freeze and wait for you to execute him, as you have in most games. So you kinda have to be careful over when you use those finishers. So if he's alone, yep, you can absolutely finish him. You can absolutely admire the mess, as you can see, beautiful mess. Oh, and the chunks vanished, yeah, so I have seen the head chunks kind of like spread around there and they do vanish. Which, you know, is unfortunate. I would like to have an option to have as much of the mess remain as possible, so you actually have a great deal of the mess remain. So bodies will remain, as far as I saw, every single blood splatter will remain. Even some debris, so I think I was mentioning it, there is a degree of interactivity with the environment. And for example, I have seen bullet impacts cause like small bits of debris, and I believe those actually stay. I think if I break those plates, so as you can see, the white parts are gonna be vanishing, but there are those kind of like gray parts that do stick around. You should be able to see that clearly here, as you can see, so the white bits vanish, the pages vanish, but the gray bits do remain. So you do have a degree of interactivity with the environment. There is a focus on the aftermath here as well, absolutely. A big one, but the thing I would really like to see here is an option in the config to have basically everything remain. And you know, it isn't a war game with 100 players where you have just stuff being destroyed at any given moment, like gunfire leaving debris at any given moment. So I think in a game like this, having an option for debris to stay would be very, very welcomed. I do have to... You know what? I'm gonna use this as an opportunity to showcase the body damage. The non-dismembering part of the body damage. So basically, what you're gonna be seeing a lot is just the torso covered in blood, but as I was playing it, my impression is that what you're basically gonna be having is it kind of a blood painting feature. You know, where you have an overlay on the character and you expose parts of it at the point of impact. But the big issue is that very often you just have almost the entire torso have that blood overlay, and oftentimes the response is gonna look very samey. As you can see, like for example, here as you can see, you just have only a certain part of the character. You have an activation of that overlay, like right where I hit him, so you can see that feature here very clearly. But for the most part, it's gonna look a little bit more like this. Where you just have pretty much the entire torso be covered. Now guys, as I was saying, most enemies take 1 or 2 hits before they go down. And here I'm gonna have the chance to showcase an enemy that is gonna require a lot more hits. And it isn't a human enemy, it isn't a dog. If you've seen the trailer, you know what I mean. Oh, and by the way, you like that head. By the way, would the severed head stick around? It's actually a pretty good question. Let's see if it's gonna vanish. Yeah, so far, it appears the severed heads do stick around. They just often get blended into the environment. So yeah, so what I will say is that no enemy feels unfair. You may die easily, you are gonna die a lot, but I will say it's kind of made in a way that the enemies are gonna be challenging, but they don't feel unfair, with the exception of one enemy, which you'll see in a bit. But even that, you know, kind of for the comedy factor, I kind of don't even mind it. You'll see, and I do want to be armed. So, one good reason to have the same layout is actually enemies like that guy. So you can kind of like figure out how to better approach him, and sometimes the layout is kind of done in a way where you can kind of easily get him, but that isn't always the case. If you don't have a gun, he's pretty hard to get, and seems like I am gonna be having a gun. And just as I was gonna go for the gun, I do really want a gun before I can approach that guy. And I do want to keep the katana around for the final enemy. Once again, you'll see. Once again, had the head chopped off, so I'm gonna try a katana throw. I'm not sure where the gun enemy is. And occasionally, if the gun enemy spawned in like a billiard room, yeah, he won't have guns, so that's not great for me at the moment. So that guy, he can survive actually. He can survive up to 2 hits. I did get him occasionally with a single hit. As I was saying, you can get him occasionally with a single hit, but he can survive 2 hits. And as you may have seen, he had a sword stuck in him, so he isn't an easy enemy. And you know, like, just with pure luck I could just have can die to one of those guys when I have the gun available. But I do really want to save the bullets for that final enemy. As I was saying, he will occasionally survive a hit, but not always. And I think that the pool is eventually gonna go red. Yeah, as you can see, it does progressively get more red, which is just quite awesome. Yeah, so very nice touch. Very, very nice touch. And I'm bleeding. Here is a pretty good showcase of just the splatter response, the overall response on a single hit. So as you can see, some splatter around him, as I was mentioning before, just a huge splatter on his body. And we actually had some kind of like splatter go back towards me, which is kind of cool, absolutely. So, are you guys ready? Not sure I'm ready. So for this enemy you kind of want him to have a few victims, like this. Yeah, here we go. So the one enemy that isn't human, that's gonna take a whole bunch of abuse, is a effing gator. Yeah, so you can hit him with a full magazine of that Uzi, and he just one hit or two hits kills you. It is possible to kill him, but if you can get... So you usually have the Gator, and you have a different Uzi enemy spawn. So at times you can kind of have like the Uzi enemy heavily damage him, and then you can just finish the Gator. But at times you're just gonna have to run away, try to have all the bullets hit the Gator. Oh, wasn't my intention, but you can run away, you can try to have all the bullets hit the Gator. Oh no, oh no. So as you could see, my head would be painting that pool in red. Occasionally stains will go to the walls, but not on the degree of Hotline Miami. There the walls basically didn't exist for the stains. The safest way to get the yellow jackets is just to throw a weapon at them, but of course it isn't always accurate, and once again, like, just looks nice, just looks nice. Did I have the gun enemy? I think I didn't have the gun enemy, right? Yeah, so, yeah, the gun enemy had a pool stick. Maybe if he can come here and I'll just showcase a finisher on him. But yeah, so in terms of alpha, the only things that really kind of indicate it being an alpha is the occasional AI bug, which, as you can see, there aren't that many of them, but occasionally the AI will do some pretty weird stuff. And occasionally the layouts can be a little bit weird, but for a very early alpha version, it's very, very solid. It is seriously solid, and a demo should be available publicly soon, so you guys will be able to enjoy it as well. And as you can see, I highly recommend it. Oh, I got him! Huh, look at that. So apparently one mag is enough to... Yes, so kill the Gator. Got shot by the Uzi guy. Alright, so apparently one mag is enough to get the Gator. But yeah, the Gator is basically as fast as the player is. He's absolutely deadly. He can tank way more damage than any character here, so apparently in previous runs I just had every single hit on the Gator miss. Alright, so if I can get the gun enemy to come here, it's gonna be quite useful against the Uzi guy. Oh! Yep. Gotta say, I do personally love the high lethality, everyone except the Gator being very, very vulnerable, player included. And as I was saying, you will die a lot, but it really... I will say it doesn't feel frustrating, it feels just, yeah, just challenging in a good way. So we had the head dismembered. Leg is off, second leg is off. Might have perhaps even 2 points of amputation, because I think that's the entire leg, and here's the leg at the knee level. May have actually more than 1 point of amputation per limb. Yes, I do have a gun, so apparently he's still alive, yeah, so as I was saying, this guy, he can survive a hit occasionally. Maybe the briefcase took the bullet. Got him. Yes, one of the ways I usually have a slightly bigger survival chance against the Gator is having is basically sacrificing the ladies to the Gator, so he's gonna be busy eating them and briefly leave me alone. Oh yeah, so the Gator got me, but as you could see, he is killable. Maybe some shots just didn't register. So as I was saying, one way to have a better chance with the Gator is to have the ladies run around. He's usually gonna go eat them first, give you a chance to put a few holes in him, and perhaps you can maximally weaken him, and then perhaps you can even get him with a gun, or for the very least maximally weaken him with a gun and then just finish him with a melee weapon. I'll do one more attempt at the Gator and I'll go for the conclusions. And by the way, weapons do actually stick in characters. Here you can kind of see it, the pool stick is actually stuck in his head, which is lovely. So I do want one more attempt at the Gator before I go for the conclusions. Alright, one shot got him. Alright, so once again I do want a showcase of what a pistol can do. Here we go, so splatter around him, blood pool underneath, and some splats going towards the player. With the whole scene looking quite cool. As you could see, like, the splatter here is very nice. So I do have a lady here, and perhaps she can be like my Gator fodder. There is a gun here. Where is the gun? Where is the gun? Here is the gun. Here's the gun. Okay. Come here, buddy. Got him. Yes. But I have to avoid a different mistake I made, so I believe the first time I got the Gator, I'm also like happy I got him. I'm going back to the exit. I think, yes, I won. And that guy actually, he didn't come after me. He was around the exit. And as I'm going carelessly for the exit, he just pops me. After, you know, like 10 attempts against the Gator, the 11th or so being successful, I'm being shot by this regular dude with a Mac-10. So, as for the conclusion and a few points of feedback, as you can see, I think it is hugely enjoyable. The trailer got my interest, and now playing it, yeah, it is great indeed. I usually wouldn't be a fan of an enemy like the Gator, but all things considered, the comedy factor of a effing Gator coming at you, and the various ways you can slow him down, particularly the ladies that are gonna be basically bait for him, the other enemy that spawns with him. So I really don't mind, and as you can see, it is possible to get him even if you're playing as you're reviewing the game. As for a few points of feedback that I do think are very much doable, having the option of every single bit of debris, bit of brain chunk remain. A few more variations of the active ragdoll, some like the ones we currently have, the character kind of moving around for 5-10 seconds, but also a few that would be more frantic, more violent. The character initially freaking out like fish out of the water, gradually losing strength until he is fully out. And what could very much spice it up are a few variations of cutouts inside the torso, exposing ribs, exposing guts, particularly as a response to the shotgun. So that is what we have. Hope you enjoyed the video, do let me know what you think, I'll be doing more coverage as it develops, and I'll see you all in the next one.